نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. As Muslims, we have to believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who protects. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to harm, no one can save. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to save, no one can harm. That's why we should first ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then look for means. For example, before sleeping, read Ayatul Kursi, Allahu la ilaha illahu, and you will be protected whole night. In the same way, we should believe that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gave us the power and strength to earn, and so we should spend for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You cannot gain piety until you spend from what you love the most. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful that reward can be achieved even by planting a tree. فَيَأْكُلُ مِنْهُ طَيْرٌ أَوْ إِنسَانٌ أَوْ بَهِيمَةٌ. If a bird, human or an animal eats from it. On the other hand, if we disobey the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we lose reward. For example, if a person keeps a dog, يَنْقُصُ كُلَّ يَوْمٍ مِنْ عَمَلِهِ قِيرَاطٍ. Reward equal to a mountain will be deducted daily from his good deeds. My dear listeners, Islam teaches us even animal rights. For example, one person was forgiven because he gave water to a dog who was dying of thirst. Allahu Akbar. Imagine the reward for helping a human being. On the other hand, we are told about a woman who was thrown in hell because حسبتها حتى ماتت جوعا. She prisoned a cat until it died due to hunger. Allahu Akbar. Imagine the punishment of those who disgrace and degrade human beings. Our condition is we steal and rob others' wealth. Although we are told that to even plant anything in someone else's land without permission is not allowed. Never mind gaining control of someone else's land. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said, "Matalul ghani zulm." To delay in paying debt without any reason is zulm. It is injustice. If a janaza was brought in front of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to ask, "Fahal alayhi dayn?" Was he in debt? If the answer was yes, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would refrain from performing the janaza salah. This proves that if you do owe someone anything, then pay them as soon as possible. To delay without any reason is not allowed. My dear listeners, even children have rights. Once the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given a bowl of milk. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam drank from it and wanted to give the remaining to the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's habit was to distribute from the right side. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw a young boy on his right, and on the left were senior Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not ignore the boy like we do nowadays. Eto nallo ine puchwani hu zarurat. He's a kid. We don't need to ask him. Ye to chota hai. Unko पूछने की क्या जरूरत है? नहीं नहीं. But the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to the boy, أتأذن لي أن أعطيه الأشياخ? O son, would you allow me to give the remaining to the elders? Allahu Akbar. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is asking permission from a child. The Prophet, the child replied, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I will not allow anyone to have the blessed milk from which you have drunk. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him the bowl of milk. My dear listeners, see how simple and honest the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum were. The young Sahabi radiyallahu anhum said what was in his heart and did not do what we do. We say one thing but mean something else. And so often in front we praise, but from behind we criticize. In front we give dua, and from behind we curse. In front we praise, and from behind we backbite. In front we show that I am your friend, and from behind we show enmity. सामने से तारीफ, पीछे से गाली, गीबत, सामने दुआ, पीछे से बद्दुआ, सामने दिखाते हैं दोस्ती, पीछे से दिखाते हैं दुश्मनी. यह हमारा हाल है. We also see here that the senior Sahaba radiyallahu anhum did not get offended or did not think of him as disrespectful because they knew that it was his right. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create such environment amongst us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those who fulfill others' rights. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin.